You're all well. Thank you for coming back to Warren's Team Talk. I'm very happy to be here with you. Um, and I hope it's a great day wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. I hope you're great and you're healthy and you're fine and everything's working out the way you want it to and all that sort of carry on. Anyway, before we get started, can I just please ask you to make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Please put a like on the video and please remember to try and pass the video around to as many different people as you possibly can. That would be absolutely fantastic if you could do that for me. It really helped me to grow this channel because I really want to grow it and make it as big and brilliant as I possibly can. And so anyway, I hope that you're all well and having a really, really great day. So without further ado, let's get on with it. And I just want to say a big warm welcome to anyone who's new to Warren's Team Talk. And I hope you enjoy your visit to my channel. And thanks for coming and checking me out. And I hope that you'll come back again soon after sampling what I've got on offer for you again today. So anyway, what we're doing today is I'm going to review the upcoming Premier League fixtures this weekend, which is match day 10 of the FA Premier League. Gee, I can't believe we're already at match day 10. Only seems like yesterday that I was watching Arsenal getting absolutely ripped to pieces at Brentford, but there you go. So it just shows you, doesn't it, I guess? Anyway, so we're going to review these games that are taking place this weekend. So like I say, let's get on with it. And before we look at the actual fixtures this weekend, let's have a quick look at the Premier League table. But before we do that, we've got a visitor. And it's the one and the only, the magical Mr. James Dunlop. Hi, James. How are you? I hope you're well. And James says, hi, Warren. I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in. It's great to see you. The Premier League table, as you can see, Chelsea are top, 1 point clear of Liverpool. Liverpool are still unbeaten. Which is a bit of a source of concern for me, to be quite honest. Manchester City are third, but the top three, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City, Chelsea have only lost one game and drawn one, and Manchester City have only drawn two and have only lost one. So they're doing really, really well, and they're starting to pull away a wee bit, I think, to be honest. Anyway, in fourth, we've got West Ham United, which is a refreshing change. Fifth, we've got Brighton. And sixth are Tottenham. Seventh are Manchester United. And eighth, we've got Everton. And then ninth are Leicester, and 10th are Arsenal. Now, if we look at the bottom end of the table, we can see that fifth bottom are Southampton on 9 points. On 8 points. Leeds United are fourth bottom, and they've got 7 points. And then 3 points adrift of them are Burnley and Newcastle, who are 18th and 19th respectively. And poor Norwich City are in bottom place in the table. They've only managed to secure two draws this season. They've only scored 2 goals and they've conceded 23. So it's been quite a torrid time for them, really. So, yeah, it's not really going well. Anyway, so let's have a look at the fixtures. So this weekend's fixtures, Leicester are taking on Arsenal in the first game of the weekend at the King Power Stadium, and that kicks off at 12:30. And then we've got Burnley against Brentford, which is a 3:00 kickoff. Liverpool against Brighton and Hove Albion, another 3 3:00 kickoff on Saturday. Manchester City against Crystal Palace, yet another 3:00 kickoff, I believe. Sorry, Manchester City, not Manchester United. Manchester City against Crystal Palace, and Newcastle against Chelsea, and then Watford against Southampton, Tottenham against Manchester City, and then there's 2 games, Tottenham against Manchester United, and then 2 games on Sunday, which is Norwich against Leeds and Aston Villa against West Ham. And then finally, the Monday night game is Wolves against Everton. So that's all the fixtures. Now I'm just going to go through these games and see what we think is going to happen. And James Dunlop's going lead. He's predicting that Leicester will beat Arsenal by 2-1. And he reckons it'll be a tough game for both sides. Yeah, I think it will be, but Leicester have started to come into a bit of form, and as has James Maddison. And I think your prediction's spot on, mate. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Leicester will run out 2-1 winners, because I think their midfield is far, far superior to ours. And I think we're going to get overrun in midfield again, like we've done on the last couple of occasions away from home. And I think Leicester will be too strong for us. I remember the game, the League Cup game against Leeds. In the first few minutes, I saw something that really alarmed me. I know it's a much changed team, but there seemed to be a lack of movement off the ball amongst the Arsenal team. Consequently, Leeds were finding it really easy to press us. They were going in groups of 3 and 4 to each Arsenal player that had the ball, and the Arsenal player only had one option to which to pass to, so consequently they lost possession. So, I've found that quite alarming, really. And if the same thing happens against Leicester, we're going to get ripped to pieces. That James has come in and said as well, Burnley 0, Brentford 1, and Liverpool 3, Brighton 0. Yeah, I can't disagree with you, mate. I think all those predictions are more or less spot on, although I think Brentford will score more than 1 against Burnley. Burnley even managed to lose at home to Tottenham, so that's not good for them, really, is it? Because everywhere they go, they seem to get battered at the moment, Tottenham. And I was watching Expressions' stream when they played at the last time they played, other than the cup match. And against West Ham, that was it. And he was going ballistic because they lost that game against West Ham. And he was saying, listen, that's 4 London derbies now we've lost since the start of the season. And we're not even in December yet. I just thought it was hilarious. So my prediction for the Burnley-Brentford game is I'm going by Brentford to win by 2-0. Brentford had a good win last night against Stoke in the League Cup. And like I say, Burnley lost at home to Tottenham, which not many people have managed to do. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a comfortable victory. Liverpool against Brighton. I think Liverpool will find it harder than they did against Manchester United, but I still think they'll score plenty of goals. The problem that Brighton have got is that they can't finish, in my opinion. And I think that they're going to struggle in this game. I think Liverpool will win fairly comfortably. And then Manchester City against Crystal Palace. I think this game, is another one that could be quite an interesting game, because I was really impressed with Palace when they came to the Emirates. I thought they played really well, and they were really unlucky not to go away with all 3 points. So I think this could be quite a tight game, but I just think Manchester City have got a superior midfield. I mean, their midfield options are just ridiculous. The only problem they've got is I think they need a world-class striker. If they had a world-class striker, I think the rest of us might as well just pack up and go home, because I think they'd absolutely destroy the Premier League. I really do. And walk to the Champions League. But yeah, so that one I'm going 3-1 to Man City. And then Newcastle against Chelsea. I think Chelsea will obliterate Newcastle by 3-1. I just don't really see how Newcastle are going to get anything out of that game. I just think Chelsea would be too strong for them, to be honest. And I think Newcastle really need to be very careful about who they appoint as manager to take over from Steve Bruce, because if they're not careful, they could end up getting relegated quite easily. And James has come in and said Manchester City 3, Crystal Palace 1, and Newcastle 0, Chelsea 2. Yeah, I think we're singing more or less on the same hymn sheet, mate. We really are. So, yeah, fair play to you, buddy. Yeah, I think your predictions are spot on, mate. So, let's go to the next page. And then Watford against Southampton. Now, this is going to be an interesting one, because Watford have picked up form recently, as Paul James only knows only too well after what happened at the last weekend. But Southampton are struggling down the bottom of the table, and they need to start picking up points, because they're getting perilously close to the drop zone. But I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. Claudio Ranieri looks like he's starting to get his stamp on that Watford team, and I think Watford will win by 2-1. Now, Tottenham against Manchester United. Now, I saw someone the other day describing this game as El Sacico. Not El Clasico, El Sacico, because they were saying that it's going to be a race between Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Nuno Espirito Santo to see who gets sacked first. And I think both clubs' morale are really fragile at the moment after what's happened in recent games. And I think it's going to end up being a 1-1 draw. I can't see either side winning it, to be quite frank. And I just can't believe that Ollie's still at the wheel, as they say. I can't believe that he hadn't been sacked already after that capitulation. It's one thing putting in a poor performance, but when you do it against your deadliest rivals, that's just completely unacceptable. And if Arsenal had capitulated like that against Tottenham at home and got done 5-0, I would have been outside the Emirates Stadium bloody trying to break into the place to get hold of Mikel Arteta. I really would have done, because it's just not acceptable. You don't do that. It's just outrageous. And how this is being allowed to fester on the way it has is just unbelievable. But more power to their elbow. That's all I can say, because the longer he's in charge, the less of a threat he's going to be for the rest of us. So fair play to him. I hope he stays as long as possible, really. James has come in with another chat. So Chase's Park will be bouncing now that Steve Bruce isn't there as manager. It will be, but I don't think it's going to help them, mate. I really don't. It will be. They'll be absolutely pumped. That's for sure. They're going to be absolutely pumped for that game. The place will be rocking. You're right. But and I've been there when it's been rocking as well. I remember going to a Newcastle Middlesbrough derby, and I think it was 3-1, and it was in the late 80s to Newcastle, and it was when both sides were in the old second division. and they were going for promotion to the first division. And some Borough fans thought I was a Chelsea fan because Chelsea were at the top of the table trying to get promoted as well. And I was going, no. I'm just here with some Borough mates who are neighbours of mine and whatnot. So I'm here today to support Borough. So don't have any worries about that. And I remember, I think Borough took the lead. Then Newcastle equalised, and I thought the roof was going to come off the place. It was just unbelievable. The only time I've ever heard a noise anywhere resembling that was when I've been at Parkhead. It was just unbelievable. So James has put another chat in saying Watford 2, Southampton 1. Watford will be well up for it. They will. Their tails are going to be really up, especially after what they did to Everton last weekend, mate, and where they banged in 3 really late in the game. They're going to be Claudio Ranieri will be using that to really motivate them and get them fired up for this game. That's for sure. And then James Dunlop has come in with another chat saying Tottenham 1, Man United 1. Not going to be a classic, this game. It certainly ain't, mate. And I completely agree. You got all the same predictions as me. It's madness. So, yeah, fair play to you, buddy. But that Watford-Southampton game, I'm really curious to see what happens in that match. Because Southampton need to start getting points. They're as we saw just now, they're fifth bottom in the Premier League, and they're getting closer and closer to the relegation zone. And if they don't start pulling some points out of the bag soon, all it's going to take is for Burnley or one of those 3 clubs in the relegation zone to suddenly put a run together, and they're going to be in trouble. They really are. James has come in with another chap saying Norwich 0, Leeds 2. Someone please put Norwich out of their misery. Still feel sorry for their fans. Yeah. One of my best mates is a Norwich fan, and I really feel for him because this happens almost every other year. They get relegated, they do really well in the Championship, they come back up, really buoyed by their superb performance the year before in the Championship. Because let's not forget, last season they won that Championship at a bloody canter. And now they can't score a goal, let alone pick up points. I just don't get it. I don't understand what's gone so badly wrong so quickly. In a way, it sort of reminds me of Celtic last season when Neil Lennon was in charge. The nosedive was just so quick. It just went really out of hand really quickly, and nosedive completely out of control so quickly. So many players out of form, unrest in the dressing room. It was just an absolute nightmare. So I don't get it. I don't know. Then James has come in with another chat saying Aston Villa 1, West Ham 3. Talking of West Ham, well done to them for knocking out Manchester City out of the League Cup. Moyes could win it for them. That's what I think. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have a really good run in the Europa League as well. He has got them absolutely firing. He really has. And they're going to be a handful for any side in that cup. And that's why I don't want to play them, because I think if we play them, we're going to get turned over. Although we do have a really good record against West Ham. Not in cup finals, though. 1980 cup final, I remember that. That was really painful for me. I was at the final, and I was how old was I? About 13, I think. I just turned 13. And it was one of the most awful days of my life supporting Arsenal. I can tell you, mate. It was painful. Yeah, so what do I think about Norwich and Leeds? Now, this is another interesting game. Leeds last night, on Tuesday night against Arsenal at the Emirates, they played really well, I thought, in the early part of the game. But I don't think they'll be playing that team against Norwich at the weekend. I really don't. Well, they might, but you never know with Bielsa. But it's going to be a tough game for both sides, and Norwich really need to start start picking up points, and they need to score a goal. They really do. I mean, they've only scored 2 goals in nine games. It's pitiful. And so in this game, I'm going for a 0-0 draw. I did think, up until I saw them on match day 8, when who was it they played at home? And I thought they played quite well, and I think they were quite unlucky not to get something out of the game. One of their strikers went round the keeper and then just played this really lame shot at the goal, and it sort of trickled. It didn't even look like it was going to get to the goal. It was that lame. But so I thought they'd improved until that 7-0 demolition. It depends how well the Norwich manager has been able to manage, how well he's managed to get that defeat out of their system, because the confidence must have hit rock bottom after that mauling. Albeit they had a player sent off and whatnot, but even so, I would imagine that they were really downcast after that. And Leeds, they're struggling a wee bit, aren't they? But I remember when I did the preview for the Leeds League Cup match, there was a Leeds fan in the chat, and he was saying, "Look, you need to realise that we were in this position same time last year as well, and we pulled out of it. So maybe they're going to start turning things around soon, but I don't know. This is quite typical of teams that come up and in their first season they do well, and then the next season they really struggle. It's quite common. It happens quite a lot. I've seen it happen so many times. So who knows what's going to happen there. And then Aston Villa against West Ham. I think West Ham will win that comfortably, to be honest. I wasn't impressed with Villa at all when they came to the Emirates. Arsenal played well, but I think Arsenal didn't play as well as what the scoreline suggests. I just think it was a combination of Arsenal did play well, but I think Villa were really poor as well, and it was a combination of the two things that led to Arsenal winning so comfortably. But yeah, I can see West Ham winning this game by 2-1. And Moisey's doing a fantastic job. He really is. And like James said, I think they could easily have a really good run. They could easily win this Carabao Cup. And I personally think that they're going to have a really good run in the Europa League as well. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't put a really strong challenge in for it. And then the final game on the Monday night, Wolves against Everton. Wolves their form continues to be quite good. Everton had a terrible result last time out against Watford at home. The game was petering out to a 2-2 draw, and then suddenly Watford just went goal crazy and scored 3 goals in the last few minutes, and they got thumped 5-2 at home, and that was a terrible result. And I think I think Everton in general need to do something about the squad depth, and I think that that should have been a massive wake-up call to the whole club. And I think they'll put in a much better performance this time out. And I think they'll manage to get a 1-1 draw. So that's what I think. And James has come in and said Aston Villa 1, West Ham 3. Oh, yeah, we've already read that one. And then James said, most Everton fans I've spoken to, want Moyes back. I'm not surprised, mate. I'm not surprised. Do you think he would come back? That's the question. Do you think he would? Do you think he would come back to Everton? I mean, I don't know, but they need... I think Rafa's a good coach. I don't think it's Rafa. I think they need to invest in the squad and get some serious squad depth in there, or do some work. And for the long term, I know it's not going to bear fruit straight away, but they need to do some work on the youth academy and start getting some youngsters coming through. And then James has said Wolves 2, Everton 0. Pains me to predict a defeat, but the way we are defending and the tough run of fixtures coming up, things will get toxic, especially when we play at home again. Yeah, this is what I was concerned about at the beginning of the season, that if things started going wrong for Everton, that the fans would turn on Rafa quite quickly because of his connections with Liverpool. I know I keep going on about it, but I honestly do think that's what's going to happen. And if this form continues, I wouldn't be surprised to see him out the door before the end of the year. I really wouldn't, because I just don't think that the Everton fans are going to put up with it, to be quite honest, and nor should they. James Dunlop saying Moyes wouldn't come back. We are a step down. Why would he leave West Ham, where they are fighting for the top 4 and going well in the Europa League? Yeah, that's true. That is true. But don't forget, Everton are a massive club, James. They are. They've got a lot of history and tradition, and you know they're the 5th biggest club in this country. You know, all the trophies that they've won and all the history, you know, the Dixie Dean period. I know that was a long time ago, but yeah, don't discount that, because it is a massive club. And then in the 80s, they won the league title, and they would have probably gone on to win the European Cup as well if English clubs weren't banned from Europe. And they won the Cup Winners' Cup. They won FA Cups, League Cups, and in the 80s, they were a really formidable outfit, and they gave Liverpool a real good run for their money. And that all happened just before George Graham came in at Arsenal and transformed Arsenal. So I'm not calling for Rafa's head, but he does need to pick up results fast. But we need a major revamp in the board and within the club. Yeah, that's what I think as well. I think that's what the issue is as well. And I think they need to back Rafa. They need, in my opinion, they need to do something about the youth development. And they also need to do something about the lack of squad depth. Because it's quite evident that if Everton lose 2 or 3 top players, then the whole thing just falls apart, as far as I can see. But yeah, so that's the way I see it, mate. I might be completely wrong, but from the outside looking in, that's what I'm picking up on. I know our history is good, but in reality, we're not a big club that people are suggesting. Yeah, and I'm one of them, mate. Yeah. I mean, it does count as a draw because, in my opinion, because it, you know, the problem is a lot of the success hasn't been quite recently. So yeah, it is a problem, but you're a well-established top-tier club. You had a lot of success in the 80s. It depends, really. But if you can get yourself through this sticky patch and kick on and start climbing back up the table, and you can have a good season, get in the Europa League and do something about the squad depth, I still think that you can have a really, really good season, because I do think that Rafa's a really, really good coach. So, yeah, but something needs to happen about the lack of squad depth, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's the fixtures. The Warren's Team Talk predictions game will be running again as well this weekend. For those of you who don't know, this is a game that's been running since match day 3 of the Premier League. And I'm just going to briefly tell you how it works. So you get points for how accurate your predictions are for all the Premier League matches that weekend. And depending on, like I say, how accurate your predictions are, you get awarded points. And then every week, when I'm doing the review of the Premier League matches, I put the current standing of all of those that are competing in this competition against all the other competitors. It's just a bit of fun that I thought would be a good idea to do and be fun for everyone. And so basically, if you predict, say, for example, Arsenal to beat Liverpool by 1-0, and Arsenal do beat Liverpool by 1-0, you get 5 points because you correctly predicted that Arsenal would win, but you also got the margin of victory right. Then, if you predicted, say, Manchester United to lose to Chelsea by 2-1, and in fact they lost by 1-0, then you'd get 2 points for that because you correctly predicted that they would lose to Chelsea, and you also correctly predicted the margin of defeat, i.e. by 1 goal, but you just didn't get the score completely right. So you get 2 points for that. Then if you manage to correctly predict that, say, Leicester beat Watford by 2-0, well, if you correctly predict Leicester to beat Watford, but you get the margin of victory completely wrong, i.e. that you say it was going to be 2-0 and it was 3-0, you get 1 point for that. And then if you predict that a game is going to be a draw, you'll get 2 points for that if you don't get the score right. But then if you predict the score correctly, say you reckon it's going to be 0-0 and it is 0-0, you get 5 points for that. But unfortunately, if you get it completely wrong, i.e. you say Norwich are going to beat Villa 2-0 and the game ends in a 1-1 draw, you don't get any points for that, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's the Warren's Team Talk prediction game. And there's more information about that on the Warren's Team Talk Facebook page. The link for that is in the description of the video, and on there you'll be able to see all the fixtures from this upcoming weekend's matches, and also further information about this competition. So anyone who is interested, all you need to do is make sure you get your predictions into me by the 5 o'clock on the day the first fixtures played. So if we take this week as an example, the games kick off on Saturday, so you need to get the predictions into me by 5 o'clock tomorrow. So yeah, that's the Warren's Team Talk predictions game. And at the moment, our dear friend James Dunlop is winning it. So he's doing really well. He's proven himself to be a top tipster, and he's doing a grand job with these predictions, let's say. And then James Dunlop says 100% Warren, I agree. Thank you, James. Thank you. But that's just the way I see it, mate, in terms of Everton. That from looking into the club from the outside, that's what it looks like to me. I might be completely wrong, but that's what it looks like. Anyway, I just want to give a shout out to some other YouTubers. The old school Gunner has got an Arsenal YouTube channel. Does daily content of very high quality, I have to say. The 3 Pointers TV, another really high quality Arsenal YouTube channel. It's really high quality, but it's also very, very funny as well. Arsenal Alex, a very passionate Arsenal fan, does some great Arsenal content too. And another one is Drawn by Dre. He's another excellent Arsenal YouTube channel. He's got a podcast called the Possession Based Podcast, which is great, absolutely fantastic stuff. And then last but not least, the channel with all the foundations is the Claude and the Bansters channel, the number one place on YouTube for heated football debates. And it does get very heated and passionate on that channel. It really does. Particularly when the two presenters, Diesel and Terry, are on there together. Invariably, it ends up in a massive tear-up on screen between the two of them. You've got Diesel, who thinks that Mikel Arteta shouldn't be in the job. And then you got Terry, who thinks that Mikel Arteta is the greatest young coach in world football. So, yeah, it's pure 100% entertainment and absolute top quality. And James comes in and says, well, I can tell you the foundations isn't great at Everton. No, laugh out loud. No, it doesn't look like it, mate. It looks like they're built on sand, mate, at the moment. But never mind. There you go. Yeah, so I wonder how Terry's foundations are doing. I really do. I hope he's all right. Bless him. And then I'm surprised he hasn't come out of the woodwork, actually, after the win against Aston Villa the other night. I would have thought he would have come on and had a dig about Mikel Arteta after that game, but still, never mind. Yeah, so please make sure you go and visit all these channels. You give them a subscribe. You put a like on all their videos. And please make sure that you pass their content around to as many people as you possibly can. That'll be really, really helpful to them in their bid to take their channels forward. So, yeah. And you won't regret it, I can assure you, because their channels are fantastic. So, anyway, so that's the end of my preview for this weekend's upcoming Premier League fixtures. I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for coming and watching my video. Please, if you're watching this on playback, please put in section what you're going to think, what your predictions are for the upcoming weekend's games, and tell me what you thought about the video and stuff like that, and what you thought about James and I's assessment of the matches. I'll be really interested to hear what you've got to say. James is saying, I think Terry is too busy with work at the moment. I can remember him saying it it's all mad. Yeah, he sent me a message on Instagram saying exactly the same thing. I just hope he's not overdoing it, because I wouldn't want him to see. I wouldn't want to see him becoming ill over work. It's just not worth it. So if you're watching, Terry, take it easy, mate. Don't let work bully you. Don't take on more than which is acceptable to you. And please take care of yourself and look after your health, buddy. Anyway, so
unknown caller.
That's the end of the show for today. Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry. That's the end of the show today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And James says, I hope Terry's okay, though. Yeah, absolutely, mate. And so do I. I hope he's all right. But thanks very much for tuning in. Don't forget to put a like on the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And please remember to pass it around to as many different people as you possibly can. And on Saturday, I'm going to be, I think I'm on Old School Gunners channel, because we've got another match day centre live on Saturday for the 3 o'clock kickoff. So that should be wild. It really should, because the last one was absolutely bonkers that I did last weekend, and the one before that was great as well. So that'd be fantastic. So, cheers, Warren. Take care, mate. And the same to you, James. And don't get too stressed about Everton, mate. At the end of the day, they ain't going to bloody get stressed about you or I, or Arsenal ain't going to get stressed or worried about me, and Everton ain't going to get stressed and worried about you. So don't let them upset you, buddy. Anyway, so take care. Thanks very much, everyone who's watched, and big shout out to James Dunlop for coming into the chat. It was great to see you, mate. And thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. And if I don't see you before, I'll see you again on Saturday. Take care, everyone. Thanks a lot. Take care now. And remember to keep talking and spread some love and friendship around the world. Thanks a lot. Take care for now. Bye.